Welcome to another lesson with IELTS Success Summit. And I want to welcome you here, wherever you're watching from. And if you are watching live or on the replay on Facebook or YouTube, I hope that you discover everything that you're looking for today. And today we're going to talk about something that's really important, and that's making sure that your English is at the level you need for the IELTS exam. And this is a question that so many test takers have. If you are ready for the IELTS exam when it comes to your English level, it means that you have a high, intermediate, or advanced level. And there's really no replacing this. There's no amount of tips or tricks or secret formulas that you can use on the IELTS exam that replaces just having a good enough English level. But once your level of English is good enough, there are some things that you can focus on to improve it the fastest and to just get into the habit and routine of knowing what's important when it comes to expressing yourself in English on the IELTS exam. What I want to share with you today is a step-by-step 5-day formula and strategy for improving your English for IELTS, but doing it in a way that's natural and easygoing and relaxing and maybe even fun. And the things that I'm going to share with you today are not IELTS exercises as such. There are things that you can just simply do every day. And I'm going to give you a 5-day plan for improving your English for the IELTS exam. So let's get started and let's talk about this 5-day plan to improve your English for IELTS. The goal of this plan is to make your English improvement just a part of your daily routine, your daily habits, so that it doesn't seem like it's studying or working extra hard. English does take work to improve, but if you make it a part of your routine and daily habit and just do a few minutes a day, this can make all the difference in your preparation, because really consistency is the key. Just showing up every day, spending a few minutes and focusing on how you can improve your English. And it should be natural, it should be interesting, and it should be fun. And the ultimate goal is so that on test day, you feel totally confident and even comfortable and relaxed and laid back, knowing that you've done everything you can to get the score you need on the IELTS exam. So let's take a good look at what this really means. When it comes to your English and when it comes to the IELTS exam, you are being tested on 4 skills: your writing skills, your ability to communicate clearly with your writing, and the same with your speaking, your ability to express your ideas and thoughts and feelings clearly and communicate these with someone else. And then you have your listening skills. Can you pick out key information and answer the questions that you need to answer? But really being able to just identify details. And this also applies to reading. So with each of these 4 things, when it comes to developing your English and improving your English, you can identify what you're really trying to do in each of these areas. When it comes to writing, writing is your ability to share your thoughts, to share your feelings, and to share your ideas, because this is what makes up your opinion. And often in the writing section, whether it's general or academic, in writing task 2, you're asked to simply share your opinion. Can you share your ideas? Can you share your thoughts and your feelings on a particular topic and be able to express these in writing? When it comes to speaking, the most common concern is, can you speak with fluency? So understanding what fluency really is a key component to the speaking section. Now, let me tell you what fluency isn't. Fluency isn't your ability to speak quickly and make no mistakes. That's not fluency. Fluency is the ability to clearly communicate. If you do make a mistake, you can correct it. If you say something in a way that you don't think was totally effective, you can just repeat it and paraphrase it and say it in a new way. But fluency is really a natural ability just to, again, to share your ideas and your thoughts and to clearly communicate. And listening is about your ability to understand what you're listening to. Not every word, not every specific detail, but as you listen, to be able to pick out what's most important so that you can be clearly communicated to and to understand what you're hearing. And with reading, it's all in the details. As you're reading, this is where you can spend more time picking out specific details and taking a look at the details. And of course, all these things are tested in the IELTS exam. So if you want detailed lessons or information or advice on any of these specific sections, just subscribe and follow me on this YouTube channel or join my Facebook group, and you'll receive all the tips and instruction you need for success on the IELTS exam. But when we take a look at writing and speaking and listening and reading, we're being tested in 4 areas of our English. But it really all boils down to 2 important things to recognize. When it comes to writing and speaking, it's all about production. It's what you produce, the ideas that you put forth, and being able to express these. So, writing and speaking are all about production. So, as you practice and go through this 5-step plan, you're going to want to focus on production. You're going to want to focus on the ability to produce and share your ideas and to be able to clearly communicate them and speak fluently. But when it comes to listening and reading, it's all about reception. It's being able to react and respond to what you hear and to what you read. So these kinds of skills, your reception skills, are also something that you will want to include in this 5-day plan. And I think what I'm going to share with you, simply spending a few minutes every day for 5 days, and you can put these 5 days in any order and on any day of the week that you like, but you will be able to really focus in on production and reception, the ability to share and to understand and to identify key details. So let's get started and let's just go through one day at a time as to how you can really improve your English for IELTS. The first, on day one is a good day to focus on writing. And I've just put this little cue that comes from every question you'll see, for example, in writing task 2, whether it's general or whether it's academic. You'll always see this as part of the instructions. Once you're given your topic and your task, it will always include this. Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge and experience. And this is really good news for the IELTS exam and for writing, because you're sharing from your own knowledge and experience. And you will be asked to give your opinion, but this opinion comes from your everyday, your daily life, your own knowledge and experience. Your opinion and what you share is based on your ideas and your thoughts and your feelings. And so in this way, it's actually very natural. It's not overly academic. It's based on how you communicate in your own words and your own expressions. So in this way, it's not overly formal. So by doing this every day, what I'm about to show you will really help prepare you for expressing yourself in writing. And the first thing to do is simply get a notebook. Now, if you are a person that doesn't like to write on paper, of course, you can do this on your computer or your tablet. But I would suggest, especially if you're doing the paper-based IELTS exam, just get used to the idea of writing in a notebook. And so just get yourself a notebook, and you're going to start keeping a kind of diary or journal of your everyday experiences. So once you have this notebook, on day one, just spend 10 to 15 minutes. And all you have to do is choose a random experience. And by random experience, I just mean something that happens to you during the day. Maybe you go for lunch at a restaurant. Maybe so for on this occasion, you can just choose to spend 10 to 15 minutes writing about your experience at the restaurant. Did you enjoy the food? How was the atmosphere? Were you with a friend? What was the service like? You can express any idea, any thoughts, or any feelings just about this one experience you had during the day. Or maybe you had to take the subway or metro to work, and maybe something happened on the metro that caught your attention. And maybe even it was something funny or something strange. Well, this is something that you can write about in your notebook. Or maybe you had a good chat with a friend at work or something to do with your work experience. These are the kind of random experiences that you can write about and express your thoughts and your ideas and your feelings. And I'll tell you why, because when it comes to the topics on the IELTS exam, they are everyday common topics. The most common topics in IELTS writing are things about your family, or things about school or education, or work and employment, things like diet and nutrition, or things like the weather and the environment. So these things are things that you experience on a daily basis. So just get in the routine and the habit of being able to write for a few minutes about about these things. And later on in this lesson, I'm just going to show you another step you can take to build on that to even help you further as you prepare for the IELTS exam. But step number one, just get in the routine and habit of writing a few minutes every day. And this is what you can do on day one. Take 10 to 15 minutes and get used to the idea of sharing your ideas and thoughts and feelings on paper. And this will go a long way to preparing you for the writing task in the IELTS exam. So, what do we do on day two? Well, day two is speaking. And the only thing that you'll need to uh, to practice your speaking is your phone. So, uh, and everybody, I guess everybody nowadays has a phone. So this is the best tool that you can use to practice your speaking on your own. Of course, if you have a partner and someone that you can practice with, that is one of the biggest assets to getting ready for the speaking test. But you can prepare on your own by using your phone. And again, it's the same idea as with writing. You'll take 10 to 15 minutes on day two, and again, think of some random everyday experience that's taken place and share your ideas, thoughts, and feelings about it. So just put together something. You don't even have to write a script, you don't have to make notes. Just share your feelings about something that happened that day, whether, again, a conversation with a colleague, something that happened maybe while you were shopping at the supermarket, or something that happened in your family that day. And once you have a little idea of what you want to share, turn the record on your phone on, and just make a little videotape of you talking just for 3 or 4 minutes about this experience, and record it and then watch it again, and just get an idea and see what it's like, and how you come across and how you communicate as you're expressing these ideas and these thoughts and feelings. This can be so effective. And if you want a shortened version of this, you don't even have to turn on your phone. Just go in the bathroom and stand in front of the mirror and talk, and give a little talk about something that happened that day, just to get the idea of how effectively and naturally you're expressing these ideas and these thoughts and these feelings. So just a few minutes a day to focus on speaking, and the only thing you need is your phone. So you just have a notebook for your writing and spend a few minutes each day, and the same with speaking. And what you're doing on these 2 days is you're focusing on that production aspect. How do you produce? How do you share? Are you fluent? And and you'll be able to tell. You don't need a teacher or someone else to tell you if you're speaking fluently or expressing yourself effectively. You'll be able to recognize that for yourself. It's just so often we don't take the time to just have a look at how we do it. And video or in front of the mirror is a great way to do this. So let's move on to day 3. We're starting to shift our focus now from production to reception. Now, for listening, I'm going to share with you a good app that you can use on your phone or on your desktop or laptop, and this will really help you improve your listening skills. And again, it's only going to be 10 or 15 minutes. And before I share the app with you, I just want to share what you do with this step. You think of one of these random experiences, one of these daily experiences that you've written about or spoken about on day 1 and day 2. So often when it comes to listening, we think we have to go looking for a special topic to listen about, or we have to listen to something academic. And even watching movies and TV shows, it can be a very good thing. But the problem with these is a movie could be up to an hour and a half, and a TV show a half an hour or an hour. And I would really encourage you to keep watching movies, because that's something that you're interested in and enjoy. But what I would encourage you to do with the app that I'm going to show you is to think about one of the experiences that you spoke about. So let's say you wrote about eating in a restaurant. So with this app, which has a series of short videos for you to watch, is you uh, choose a video on the topic that you wrote about. And so these are going to be familiar ideas. You're going to hear familiar words and vocabulary because you've already used them in your writing and speaking. But what it will do is allow you to maybe expand your ideas and expand your vocabulary, or even improve your grammar, because you'll hear things that are very familiar to you, but you'll hear them in a different way. And I don't even think that you have to try and focus on learning brand new words. You just might uh, recall and remember some words that you already know, but it's just that you don't use them frequently, or you don't use them all that often. See, this is what I really believe. If your English is at an intermediate or advanced level, you already have enough words in your vocabulary. You already know enough grammar. The thing is that sometimes we get into the habit of using the same words over and over again, even though we do know other words. So, by doing this listening exercise, what you're doing is just opening up options to using some words that you're already familiar with that maybe you just don't use that often. And if you can learn to bring these into your writing and your speaking, these will help expand your vocabulary without having to do all that extra memorization of academic words and things like that. Because I really believe that you have all the words that you need. So what you can do is go to this app. It's called E3Ls ELLLO.org. And I'm going to put the link in the comments. But what you do as you go to this app is you look for the listening exercises, and you'll see that there's a list of videos that you can watch. And all of these videos are just a few minutes long. And all you have to do is just listen. And one of the really great things about this app that I really like is that all these videos come from different English speaking countries. And they're all topics that are everyday topics, things about different life in different countries and different cultures, but they're everyday common topics. But the real interesting thing about this app is that beside each topic is a little flag, and it's the flag of one of these English speaking countries. So let's say you're interested in coming to Canada, you know you're going to be studying in Canada. Well, one of the most interesting things about this app is that you could choose a video about life in Canada. And so you can also, and this makes it interesting and fun to watch because it'll just give you a little bit of more insight into the country that you're planning to move to. But there's another real advantage to having these little flags beside, because on the IELTS exam, you could hear in the listening test somebody speak whose accent is from Australia or the UK or Canada or the United States. So, what you could do is to get used to hearing different accents and even slightly different ways of saying things, is just alternate between the different countries as you're listening. And so, this is just another practical tip. So, by using this app, I really think that you can get a lot of good insight in just a few minutes a day to help improve your listening. So let's go to day 4. And this is where we're going to focus on reading. And I'm going to share another app that you can use for this. But let's talk about reading. And again, because we're focusing on reception and we want to react to something that we've either written or spoken about on day 1 and 2. So we're going to look at that previous experience so that we have familiar ideas and words and vocabulary. And basically, we're going to do just what we did on our listening day. We're going to choose a short text to read, and we're going to read it, and we're going to choose something that's based on the topic that we wrote about or spoke about. So again, it'll be familiar to us, but it might just help to expand our vocabulary and recall and remember words that we just don't use that frequently, or ways of expressing ourselves that we don't use on a day-to-day basis. So basically, the strategy for reading is the same as we did on listening day, and we'll want to just focus on the topics that are interesting to us and a part of our daily life experience. And the best app for using this is actually a website, and it's called ESL Lounge.com. And as you go to this website, You'll be able to find the reading section. You'll even be able to choose whatever level of reading that you want to focus on, advanced or high intermediate, or even a lower level if you want to have a little bit more relaxing or easier day. And you go and you just choose a short passage about something that you wrote about or spoke about and read through it. And the good thing about ESL Lounge, it also has just a few comprehension questions that you can check your comprehension and make sure you picked up the important details if you want to do that. So I would highly recommend that you take the same approach as you did with your listening and just look for things that are familiar for you, but maybe a way of expressing yourself that you uh, don't do too often. And so just a few minutes a day, 10 to 15 minutes on day 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can really get used to the idea of naturally and comfortably expressing yourself and being able to find interesting and topics where you can identify the important information and the things that will help you improve for the IELTS exam. So what do we do on day 5? Well, on day 5, I would suggest that you set a little bit more time aside for this day and you just review and reinforce the things that you've learned on days 1 to 4. And this is where you can give yourself feedback. Now, a lot of times we think that we need somebody else for feedback. But again, if you're at that high intermediate to advanced level, I think that you're more than capable of giving yourself some effective feedback. So here's what you can do. You can take a look at what you did on your writing. You can check your spelling. You can check your grammar. Does it look good? Does it look correct? And the same thing with your speaking as you listen again to the video that you recorded. And just ask yourself, does this sound correct? Does it look correct? And I really believe that you have the ability to pick out what you can do. And then you can think about your listening and reading days. Was there some new vocabulary or some new ways expressing yourself on that same topic that maybe you could add in to your writing and your speaking? So this is what you would do. You would take the things, the new ideas, the new vocabulary that you picked up in your listening and reading, and then maybe rewrite what you wrote on day 1, trying to use some of your new vocabulary and your new grammar expressions. And the same thing, watch your video from your speaking day again and ask yourself, how could I say it a little differently? Maybe again, expand using words that you haven't used before, that you didn't use the first time, and say the same thing in a new way. And just by doing this, you will expand your vocabulary, you will learn new ways of expressing yourself, but more importantly, you'll become more comfortable and more confident when it comes to test day. And this is where you can improve on your own. It's self-improvement. Self-feedback leads to self-improvement. And so just repeat this 5-day plan or take 5 days out of 7 days a week and focus on these, on just taking a few minutes a day. And I can promise you, you'll be amazed, even after 3 or 4 weeks of making this a part of your daily habits, your daily routine, you'll be amazed at how much more confident and comfortable you'll feel and how much you'll be able to expand your vocabulary, not by memorizing academic word lists, but just by looking at the things that come up in the daily routine of your day-to-day life. And this is where you're going to be able to share those relevant and common experiences very effectively in writing and in the speaking test. You know, the speaking test is all about you and your daily life and your daily routine. That's a big part of the speaking test. So why not make that a daily part of your practice? You know, the IELTS exam is not an easy exam, and there are some very detailed IELTS skills that you need to learn, but nothing will replace just feeling confident and comfortable with your English language level. If you're looking for more tips and help and advice for the IELTS exam or improving your English, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, join the Facebook group, or contact me anytime with questions or suggestions for future videos. I'm here to help you, and I want to wish you all the best as you continue to prepare for the IELTS exam.